Let me share your slides. Yeah, so we're just seeing your whole screen now. So if you just want to open PowerPoint up and rock it. So never mind, goodbye.
Yeah.
So never mind, we found it, we got it. And Jeff, if you're a pacer while you talk, just don't walk past the edge of that whiteboard.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, I'll have to start moving you around. Just stay between the TV and the whiteboard area.
No worries. Little introduction, perfect.
Yeah.
Yes. Morning, everybody. Sorry for the delay. As we had mentioned, we wanted to go over the reverse mortgage training. We have our expert Jeff Banger here. Jeff has been, how long have you been with Northpoint?
7 years.
7 years. Yeah, Jeff's great. He, anytime I've had a referral for, reverse mortgages, I go straight to Jeff, and he takes really, really good care of our clients. He's, he knows his stuff, explains it the way I can understand it. So I hope, you guys will enjoy and, look forward to it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
As Lee said, I've been here at Northpoint about 7 years, and in the industry over 35 years. So been around for a while, seen the ups and downs, the swings. Even had my own mortgage company, so I've got a lot of experience. And about 6 years ago, Northpoint approached me to look at the program called reverse mortgage, but they had changed the program dramatically. The program started back in the late 80s under Ronald Reagan's administration, and they decided that they needed to update it about 6 years ago, and they now call the program HECM, HECM, which stands for Home Equity Conversion Mortgage. And basically the whole dynamics of the program is convert your home equity into cash that you can use. It is a special program only for seniors, age 62 and over. And I'm going to go through all of this in detail shortly. But the bottom line to it is it's allowing seniors to purchase or refinance a home in their retirement years to be able to have a much better lifestyle, get some closer to children, and increase the cash flow to be able to do things. So anyway, so with that in mind, if you have any questions, feel free to stop me during the presentation. Be glad to answer it. My goal is to not to get too deep into the weeds, but be able to give you a basic overview of the program so that you can identify clients of yours or potential clients that are looking for homes. Because right now, the home market is very tough. Prices have risen dramatically. So you have a huge baby boomer base looking for homes, wanting to move, downsize, or sometimes upsize, just to be able to meet what their needs are and their dreams are. So my goal is to be able to give you another option to use to be able to close more loans. That's the bottom line to it. So with that in mind, the home equity conversion mortgage is we're going to go through a lot of different, quickly, we're not going to drag this out, but very quickly go through the program and focus on the purchase side of it. Again, that changed about 6 years ago where you can now purchase homes. A lot of realtors don't realize that. And it is a huge market for the age 62 and over. The HECM stands for Home Equity Conversion Mortgage, and we call it H4P, which is a home equity HECM for purchase. And what it can do is get you more listings showing seniors how you can sell their home and then buy a retirement home with no monthly mortgage payment. The borrower must continue to pay taxes, insurance, homeowners association fees, and so forth. But once they purchase the home, they don't have to make another mortgage payment for as long as they stay in their home as their primary residence. They can if they want to. It's a payment optional program. So every month you're going to receive a monthly statement. If you want to make some payments on it, great. If you want to pull money out, you can do that. So it's a very flexible program to meet the needs of a lot of different types of people when they go into retirement. The opportunities for the agents are incredible because the market right now for seniors, a lot of them, and I'm seeing this dramatically when I take phone calls from realtors that their clients can't afford what they're looking for. And it's, prices, what I could buy at 300, 400,000 a year or two ago. It's now 600, 700,000. I can't afford it. I was going to pay cash for the house. Now I can't even get a house that I can afford. Well, no, not anymore, because you can use this as a third option for your financing. There's a lot of people, when they go to buy a home, they're going to pay cash, they're going to finance it. Well, the third option is to do a reverse mortgage for purchase, a equity purchase. And that allows them to buy up and buy a higher priced home by putting the same amount down. Again, I'm going to go through that in some examples shortly. So the big niche for the seniors right now, a lot of people say, oh, well, it's the younger generation coming up, different generations, but it's still the baby boomer generation. So about 13 to 15 trillion dollars worth of equity sitting there for with the seniors age 62 and over to be able to access that money and to either sell or buy and buy a new home or to refinance. So there are about 15 million in the senior baby boomer class right now, and it's the largest asset class. Why do people want to move during retirement? And this is what you all know better than I do. It's the reasons are, number one, be closer to the family, and then wanting to reduce home expenses. They want to downsize or change in their home status. They want to be able to get closer to some better medical care. I had a client once that was moving from Florida and wanted to move up here to Forsyth County to be able to be closer to the great healthcare facilities that we have up here, as well as the lower taxes. I mean, they were getting eaten alive down in Florida. So when they came up here, it was like night and day for them. They were just so much more relaxed and had much better cash flow and financial position for their retirement. And they were closer to the family as well. Change in marital status. I think you all see a lot of that now with the, they call it silver divorce. Seniors are divorcing. It's sad to see that go on, but a lot of times the people are using a reverse mortgage to have them to do, to kind of game plan out the divorce plans. For example, we had one client that lived up here in Alpharetta, and he was selling. They were getting a divorce, and so the example was that the individual was so they were going to have to sell the home, split up the proceeds, and then go their different ways. But the husband wanted to stay in the home. The wife wanted to move down to Florida, and so what they did was the husband refinanced the home, was able to pull cash out for this financial transaction, give that to the wife. The wife then went down to Florida, used the purchase program for reverse mortgage. And so now both of them have homes of their dreams with no mortgage payments. And there are no mortgage payments at all until they leave the home as their primary residence. Whether they move or they pass away. And again, I'll go through the details on that shortly. So it's a win-win situation in many things. Empty nesters or children moving out, all of a sudden they've got a lot of square footage and you're sitting around going, why am I walking upstairs 1 or 2 flights? And we have 4,000 square feet, don't need that. So they're moving to get into a better situated home facility. And then also, they just want to cash out from the sale of their prior house. They want to receive some money. Those different reasons are really making the baby boomers move, and they're moving a lot. Last year, approximately 4.2 million baby boomers moved, and 51% downsized. We would have thought there'd be a whole lot more for downsizing, but that's where y'all come into play and say, you know what? It's not really just downsizing. Sometimes they want to upgrade their home. They want to be able to, they have a $300,000 home now. They want to buy a $600,000, but they couldn't afford it. Well, now with the option 3, the reverse mortgage purchase, they can afford it. So that's where we come into play with, as far as saying, okay, and educating the borrower on all the options that they have. The percentage of retirees that have moved or anticipate moving right now, in this pie chart, you can see that 36% of them don't anticipate moving in retirement, yet 27% anticipate moving, and then 37% have already moved. So you've got a huge portion of that, of the ones that have moved or anticipate moving, that are going to probably be moving around more. So this is not an opportunity to be able to work with them throughout the years ahead. Now, the advantages of the program, again, I go back to what I said a little bit earlier. There are 3 ways to buy a home. The first one is a traditional mortgage. You put 20% down payment. So let's say that you're buying a $600,000 purchase, 20% down is $120,000, and then interest rates around 7.25 today. Depending on credit scores and everything else, you're probably going to have a mortgage payment of around $3,264 a month. So over 30 years, you're looking over $1,175,000 in total payments. The second way to do the purchase would be to outright just buy the house in cash. So there you go. So they withdraw $600,000 from the sale of their current home or from their investment accounts, and they use that for the cash purchase. And then the third way to consider it is the H-15 loan. So the cash to close on that $600,000 loan is dropped down to $436,281. So that's what they would bring to closing. And this is where I get in and educate and work with the borrowers on different scenarios on what they're looking for. So before the borrowers go out with y'all to look for homes, we say, okay, what are we trying to achieve? What's the price range? And let's try to come up with a financial plan to do that. And so all of a sudden, that $600,000 home is an opportunity for them to buy, and they don't liquidate all of their $600,000. They only liquidate $436,000, and then they save the rest and use the rest to put in investment accounts, buy annuities for their grandchildren if they want to educate them in the future. It's kind of basically someone that said it's better to give with a warm hand than a cold. So it's an opportunity to be able to allow individuals to help their families out now versus later. I have one client of mine that lived in Sandy Springs, and he was moving up to Woodstock. So he was selling his condo, and the condo was going to net X number of dollars. And the financial advisor called and said, will you please take a look at what we're trying to achieve here. I don't want to liquidate $600,000 out of his investment account for the purchase. What can we do? Well, we ran the numbers and we came up with a plan. And we closed on a loan where he didn't withdraw $600,000, only withdrew $300,000 and saved the rest for investment growth. So his legacy is growing. So he leveraged the house, which is basically debt equity sitting there. So he was able to buy the home, never have a mortgage payment, and then be able to have another $300,000 to use for himself or for his family. So he loved it. It's a great. The financial advisors are now catching on. They're very, very actively wanting to have us assist, because that asset of a house, the debt equity that's sitting in it needs to be put to use. It's just, it's an incredible investment to leverage. Now, the purchase power,
I'm gonna interject real quick, just because this is a naivety about this program, myself included. For the longest time, people would ask me about a reverse mortgage. I'm like, oh, well, you're gonna end up owing more than, in my mind, it's such a simplified answer as because you're thinking, okay, because you are drawing off the equity, as far as, that's where that position, that equity position is, that's being used to fund the payment, correct? And like in the example where they're only putting 482,000. So my first initial thought, even as someone that does this for a living, my first initial thought is, oh, well, you're losing negative equity there and you're giving away that. But you have to look at the big financial picture. That's what all these financial advisors are. Yes, but that's a tax benefit as opposed to, even if you're paying $3,000 a month of payment, if you're drawing that off an account that you're gonna have to pay taxes at 30% on to get that money to pay that payment. Well, then that equity is really a cost-effective way of doing that, where it just, and that's why it's so important to at least have an understanding that for myself, I just say that interject for myself because I just didn't understand it fully at the beginning.
yeah,
Sorry, but I just.
no, please, because that really gives us a lot of different ideas to go on. That equity is just sitting there unused. So you're really leveraging yourself being able to, for example, I had a real estate broker had a home in Milton. She refinanced it, did the home equity conversion mortgage. She also had some property up in North Georgia, and then she was wanting to buy something for investment purposes. So she did a refinance on the head and was able to pay off the North Georgia property as well as have additional funds to use to buy and sell property investment. So the program is extremely flexible and very wise as far as from a financial planning standpoint. But today we're focusing on purchases, so I don't want to get into that. But if you all ever have a question as far as will this work or whatever, please give me a call and I will talk, work out the numbers and email the loan proposals over to you or talk with the client directly. So the purchase power leverage is the big thing. For example, if you're age 65, again, the way this program works, to get down to the basics of it, is that the loan amount is going to be based upon your age, purchase price of the home, and then the current interest rates. So we do financial calculations on that, and we come up with a loan amount of X amount of dollars. To give an example, if you're age 65, your purchase price is going to be about 70% of the down payment is going to be about 70% of the purchase price. So the younger you are, the lower the loan amount. But as you age, for example, 75, then you're going to put down about 66%, and then age 80, about 59%. So this program requires you to have funds to be able to do it because it's setting aside that equity portion. So every month that you don't make a mortgage payment, that interest is added to the balance of the loan. So that loan balance will grow over time, but so does your appreciation. So in our loan proposal, we show how that appreciation works up to age 99 on an amortization schedule, showing you exactly where you're going to be all the way down to the bottom line, your equity position in the home. And that's the key factor. It's like, because a lot of people say, yes.
Go ahead, finish your sentence.
Well, I was getting this probably lead into your question is a lot of people ask, well, where am I going to be 10 years from now? If I go to sell my house in 10 years, how's it going to look? So we're able to present that scenario too.
So you say the loan balance increases over the life of the loan by how much you would normally make your mortgage payment or more? Like how does that work?
All right, the program has two loan programs. The first one is a home HELOC, basically a line of credit. And that is based off the constant maturity in the treasury index. So it's going to be the index plus the margin. And then that's going to give you your note, which is going to be the interest rate. So right now it's around 6.875. So that at the end of, for example, if you close on a loan at the end of the first month, let's say it's a $400,000. Your interest then it would be then calculated. You receive the monthly statement and say, oh, here's the interest for the month, and then you file that statement away. Unless you want to make payments, do that if you want. just to keep the balance, zero. So it's an interest-only payment option for
So the purchase price, so say they put the 400 into a $600,000 home, that 400 is a HELOC?
years. So,
Okay,
or it can be a fixed rate. I mean, there are two programs. One is a HELOC, the other is a fixed. On the fixed rate, it's just you close, it requires more money down, but that rate will never change. The program just, it ends until you leave. I mean, it's
so instead of making your mortgage, your monthly mortgage payment, that's added onto that balance.
correct. So let's say there's $500 of interest for the first month. All right, you'll see that in the statement. You don't make the payment, that $500 added to the balance.
Okay,
So the next month is X amount plus 5.
got it.
And so that's where that amortization schedule should show you the slow growth of the balance of the money throughout the years ahead. But it's also going to match it. It's going to map out where you're going to be as far as the appreciation of the home and then what the equity position will be.
So is it in concept, I'm trying to put
Yeah.
a frame around things, it's sort of like a growing balloon payment?
Yes. Well, yes, actually, you could say it that way. Yes. That's a good way to say it because it is growing. Balance will be growing. And at some point in time, payment is due. Well, when is that going to be? It's when you leave the home. Whether you sell it or the last person passes away. And then it goes to the heirs, and then the heirs say, I want to buy the home, so they can buy the home, or you just contact the realtor, the realtor, so.
So if a client comes to you, are there drafts that show them the schedule of, if you don't do any payments, this is what it does with this much appreciation?
And that's what a lot of, a lot
Okay.
of graphs, a lot of charts, saying, okay, here's if you don't sell it, 5 years from now, here's your position. What's the balance going to be? You go to sell it, well, I'm only going to stay. A lot of people say, well, okay, I'm going to stay here for about 5 to 10 years and move somewhere else. So then they're going to be able to say, okay, well, here's a position, estimated, means for sure.
Mhm.
And then I can figure in different appreciation factors that you all give. Like the standard is a 4% appreciation factor. And then it'll say, okay, well, in 5 years, the house value will be this, the balance will be, the loan will be this, and when you go to sell it, your net equity from the sale of will be this.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, but it's in the balloon payment. See, the mortgage company does not, servicing company does not collect its funds as far as the interest until the house sells.
Right, so as it grows, is it, just to make sure I'm clear in my mind, you've got your principal balance, and then each month the interest is added onto that. Does it compound on the growing
Yes.
balance?
Yes. So let's say, keep it simple, $100,000 beginning balance, interest $500. Next month it's $100,500. Interest is calculated off that. And then the next month you'll, continue to rise over.
You're gonna shut down if you don't move your, don't do that.
Good looking out. And that's where, like, in my mind, where I was having trouble with it conceptually was, okay, let's say you have $100,000, right, that you borrowed. And let's say it's a 10% interest rate, well, at the end of that year, now you owe $110,000. And in my mind, go, why would you want to eat into your equity like that and lose that much, per year? But it's like, but that 10,000 had to come from somewhere. You
Yeah.
either would have had to pay it, and so
Right.
what I really think in another great place is you have families that you have an elderly parent that is on a fixed income that has equity in their house, but they have no other assets to live on. Well, now maybe their children are in a position where they're going to have to try to help their parents with their monthly expenses, and they may, if they're paying for college or paying for whatever, then that's it's like, what a great place to get it from, as far as, because that money has to come from somewhere. Where I was losing the second part of it, what I was trying to articulate before is that, I was only looking at that one side of the growing negative equity, not the big picture.
Now, this is only on a new purchase. It can't be done on a refi.
Yes, you can refinance it or purchase purchase a home. So the HECM is a purchase or refinance program. Control down the screen. So on a refinance, we basically just run an appraisal on the property. We then go from there, recalculate out the amount that we estimate. It's like a regular refinance program. Take the appraised value, what's the payoff? The difference is going to be cash equity to the individual. So if he has like a $500,000 house, $100,000 loan, payoff, we did calculate the loan amount and the difference between the payoff and the loan amount. It's equity for him. You can take that at closing if he wants a portion of it, or he can just say, no, I don't need any money. I just want to establish a line of credit for future use, whether it's going to be for long-term health care or for emergency purposes. And then you'll be able to use that money and just make a phone call, go online to have the money wired into his account, which takes about 3 to 5 days.
So if you do the refinance and you are still, your payments on the interest then become optional still?
Yes, yes, and you don't make payments at all, unless you want to. It's a payment option.
Okay.
It's kind of like if you have a home equity, let's say you have a line of credit in your house right now. The easiest way to look at this program is it's a line of credit on your home, only eligible for seniors 62 and over. And it's a payment option. So if you don't want any payments, you want to have. If you don't, it's added to the balance of the loan.
You're fine.
So, and that's really about the bottom line to the program. And so when you don't make a payment, it's added to the balance. The next month, you'll see the increase in the value of the balance of the loan. And then over the years, you'll be able to track it. But the good thing about this program is most HELOC programs only go for about 10 years, then you can start making payments.
Mhm.
On this program, it's forever. I mean, the legal documentation of the note security, it goes up to age 150. And nobody lives out. But so it will never go away. It's guaranteed. It's a non-recourse loan. So let's say that you do the transaction now, you're age 62. At age 90, the house value has plummeted. It's a bad market, and you want to sell the house. Let's say you're upside down on the house. It's non-recourse. FHA is going to pay any difference. So the heirs or the individual, if the house is upside down, never has to make any difference in payment in that balance.
And the owner is still on the deed? Is that deed
Yes.
shared with anybody?
No, it's just a regular refinance or purchase where it's a mortgage. It's all it is. And see, that was a misconception years ago where people thought, well, the bank owns the house, so I'll never, it's not mine. No, it's titled in your name. It's just a loan on the house. So it's a lien against the house.
The deed is a typical security deed.
Typical security. There's actually 2 deeds, not to get too involved in the weeds, but one goes to the FHA and one is to the lender, because they want to make sure that it is that there is in the future that there's no, let's say somebody gets a lien against the property, they want to make sure nothing affects the building. So it goes up to 150%.
And if you do make payments, the optional payments, is that broken down just like a regular mortgage payment? Is part applied to principal and part to
Yes.
interest, or all to interest, or?
Well, that's a good question. There is a methodology on that where if you make a payment above and beyond the interest, it will go. And there's also a mortgage insurance premium, 0.5% per year. So there's a little, and you'll see that in the chart. So they first pay the interest in the mortgage insurance premium, then it goes to the principal. So the principal reduction. So, for example, if you take a loan out and you decide, I just had a huge closing, I want to put $50,000 out, pay down the mortgage. Well, then you can just pay it down to that balance will decrease by 50. Well, they'll pay the interest in the mortgage insurance, and then the balance will decrease by.
Or the interest for that particular month, or the cumulative interest up to that?
For that particular month.
So just like any other loan with that,
Yeah.
as far as that goes. Yeah.
How long has this program been around?
The program since the 80s. The major revamp of the program It was about 6 years ago. And that's allowed purchases as well as put a lot of different safeguards. So when an individual has to go into, if he's going to apply for one, they have to do some counseling. It's about a 45-minute counseling session. So after I work with them, they sign the application, they do the counseling, because we want to educate and over-educate the individuals so they know what's going on.
Mhm.
And because, for example, the questions you're asking come up, like, for example, during the conference call, the counselor can say, well, you realize that you have to pay the homeowner association. I didn't realize. I might have forgotten, or I might have not said it, but the bottom line is it's a good double check and make sure they understand the total. So after they do that, we have like a expedited purchase program for the homemaker loan credit. It's about an 18-day process, and I'm closing as quick as 11 days. You got to have a borrower that has the permissions, and you can't just say, "Oh well, I'll get it back too." It's kind of, no, you want to close by a certain date, and actually, it's happened several times where a realtor had a purchase lined up, and then at the last minute, something blew up, and they didn't qualify. And so they come out and say, hey, they're putting a lot of money down. Can you do a reverse on this? And we do it. And we look at it and say, yeah, we're fine. They, email me all the docs needed. We, needed to jump on it and we close it. Fairway and Northpoint Mortgages, we do business as Northpoint Mortgage, but it's Fairway Mortgages are our parent company. And we are the number one. We flip between number one and number two purchase reverse mortgage company in the United States. As far as refinances overall production, we're about four kind of floats on it. So we are dedicated to it. That's all I do is reverse mortgages. Because I just have a passion for the seed market. When I go to a closing, people are crying saying, thank you very much. And it's incredible the impact that you make. I didn't think I could buy this house. It was out of my range, especially like new construction homes. And they go in, but we would love to be in this subdivision, but we can't afford it. Maybe you can. Let's look at the numbers. Well, it's it's a $600,000 place. We were only thinking $400,000. Well, we work the numbers out to make it work if it will. And so we're able to upsize. And that was the other big thing about this. Let's add on. The builders love it because the people will say, well, I really want to have this. Well, it's going to increase the purchase by X amount. Well, they can do that. There's minimum.
Is there any training available, like mock training that is online or available that would like be the training that somebody would go through? Like if they were going to apply?
Like the counseling and.
Yeah, is that like there a mock of that
Yes,
or
yeah.
training like that? If we wanted more to see the detail of what someone would have to go through?
Yeah, exactly. Yes, we do. We have ongoing webinars for realtors. So that's what you're asking for.
Yeah, basically.
Because it really drills down. I didn't want to, I could have done that today, but I was.
Right. No, that would be a good next step to really feel a little more educated into the weeds.
I will email you the link to it. And then as well sign you all up for that, for the ongoing webinar series. But I do have financial planners for the homeowners, for the realtors, for the closing units. We have a lot of elder law attorneys that are very much interested in this program for their clients. Because their clients are some of them are needed, some of them don't. Like the financial planner, a lot of people say, well, my clients don't need this. This is a last resort type of loan. Not anymore, not the way it's designed. Financial planners love it because they are retaining their investment in investment accounts for the client, earning income for them, letting the client leverage the equity to make a greater wealth factor for their client.
You're looking in here too, if there are co-owners or co-borrowers, do both have to meet the minimum age requirement?
Yes, the process is you go off the younger of the two. If it's a couple, the younger of the two. So if one's 70, the other 65, I'm going to he calculated the loan amount off age 65, because what happens if the age 70 individual passes away? Well, the program stays in place for the younger.
Mhm.
It's and see the loan amount, the program is designed off of life expectancy.
Mhm.
So we take that 65-year-old and that loan amount is based off of her age or his age, so that they stay in the moment as long as necessary. So the answer to your question, yes, they'll go off the road too. You can also have non-borrowing spouses. So your spouse doesn't have to go on as on the loan, but they have to be aware of what's going on because they're still eligible in this program. Now it's part of the change from years ago where before if it was a husband and wife and one of them refinanced the home, didn't tell the other, and then they died,
Mhm.
major problems.
Mhm.
Because then all of a sudden that other person saying, oh, well, I need to refinance this. I need to be eligible for the program, but they weren't. And that's where you had a lot of that press saying, well, it's foreclosure. Well, that person wasn't making any income. They had moved, they leave the house. That's been taken care of with these new savings.
I have a case study for you. I have a client right now. He's in his 80s. And he has a reverse mortgage currently on his house. I don't know how long he's had it for. The houses in his neighborhood are selling for about $750. His amount that he owes is $491. But it needs a ton of work. Can he borrow against an extra $100,000 or something to put into the home before we sell it?
That's where I would come into play where you give me, all I need to run an example on that would be the date of birth, estimated value of the property, what's the payoff, what's he eligible for.
Okay,
I can do that in 2 minutes.
okay, so we can do that
So,
later.
yes.
Cool.
So, and we do have case example forms where the realtor can fill it out, send it to me, or just call them or email, say, hey, how would it look for this? I've got that situation.
Yeah.
Or I have a client, it's age 65, and they want to buy on a $650,000 home. I was thinking of need to close.
How much would they need to close? No, sorry, just out of curiosity.
The age 65, you're probably talking about 70% of the purchase price.
Okay.
I'll send you, we have a chart that will break down
Sure.
the percentages on it. Actually, it's in one of the images.
So this one?
Yes,
Okay. So if it's 65, this says 52.6 is needed for the down payment, but then to close, you said it's up to 75?
no. Well, it's 52%, and then you're gonna have closing costs and so forth, so and plus the fact that we go off the interest rates, so
Mhm.
if the rates go up, the loan amounts go down and so forth. So that's why we always want to be exact on what the current rates are, so we can calculate that plan.
So how does the rate, what you just said, how does the rate factor in? So you said if rates go up, the loan amount goes down?
Yes, because that means more interest is being charged, which is then being put against the balance of the loan, which then decreases the equity.
Correct.
Therefore, the life expectancy, if you don't adjust that loan amount, then the program is in jeopardy of always being approved. So that's why those loan amounts are adjusted. So if the rates go down, you're going to see the increase in the loan amounts. And that's why a lot of people will do a refinance, streamline refund. So, and we've experienced that over the last several years because the property values have gone up,
Mhm.
that people were able to access more equity in the home. So it's a very streamlined, low cost refund program.
And then that rate could either be a fixed rate or a floating rate?
Fixed or floating.
Okay.
The fixed is around 8.06%. The floating is adjusted on the 1-year constant maturity treasury index
The 1 year?
coming in around, yes,
And so it's the 1 year index plus.
plus the margin. Yes. Margins around 2 to
About-
4.
Okay. Okay.
Do you need help reconnecting or you got it?
No, I can do it. I just was focused in there. Sometimes just
No, you're good. I just,
answer it first.
I can help if you need it.
Yeah, I'm not sure why they're.
Yeah, I don't know why I did that.
Did you go?
Yeah, I think we just were talking too much and it was like, you know what? I'm gonna take a break. You let me know when you need me again.
We should be here in just a couple minutes. So
Cool.
I'm stepping out to look out.
Thanks, Lee.
The types of homes that you can buy are not limited to single family. They can be
Really?
condos,
Mm-hmm.
and we have an extremely good condo department that works at getting condominium projects or 55 communities approved. And that's really the big thing right now. You know, you go down to the orchards of this,
Mhm.
and you have 55 and up. And you're able, if it's not FHA approved, we get it, if possible, get it approved. FHA, doesn't take that long. We have very special connections with FHA to be able to do, quick responses. We just need the homeowners association to work with us. If we need some. 2 to 4s, they're fine.
Wow.
So we had one person that bought a duplex. She lived on one side, rented out the other side.
Mm-hmm.
So she has cash flow on profit. Very good.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
What's the logic or the reason behind no seller concessions?
Well, actually, that's changed as of about 2 months ago. FHA changed the guidelines, so now we can use up to 6% of the sales price.
Oh.
So that really does not happen. That was a very hard thing that we had to struggle with, especially with new builds. Builder wanted to give X number of dollars and it's like, no, you gotta write that contract up to be exactly what you want with sales concessions. But now you go up to 6% of the sales price.
Well, that's good, particularly since we're going to be in some cases having to negotiate
Uh-huh.
buyer side commissions now.
I know that, you know, since I'm following that very closely because it's a different day.
Mhm.
It's a different world.
Yeah.
So the basics of the program, and I'm just going to recap this real quickly. Age 62 and over, except in Texas, they've got different rules. But we do have some non-FHA reverse mortgage programs, reverse and refinances. We go down to age 55. So that's an option. And they also go up to jumbo, I think about 4 million. So that's really good. You have to live in the home at least 6 months out of the year. Unless you're doing something that you can justify, maybe gone longer. For example, some people do an overseas assignment for a year or two, but keep the house as a primary residence, and that's fine. You just need documents. Because they don't want the house to be rented out. Somebody can close on this, turn around and leave it. So stay in the house at least 6 months out of the year. There's a lot of people that have a second on the floor, let's say, stay up here, and there. The mortgage payments are optional, but you always have to pay your property charges, taxes, insurance, homeowners association fees. You keep the house up in livable condition. Then you're perfectly fine with having the payment.
So then
But-
that doesn't get escrowed, correct?
No, not unless you need it to be or want it to be. We can escrow, but that requires a larger down payment because the escrow account setup takes it out about 10 to 11 years. So we'll set aside that dollar amount and calculate it. And then the services department will pay the taxes and insurance for the next 10 to 12 years. I've had a couple of people do that allegedly because they just want to pull it. So,
Mhm.
I don't want to have a house payment. I don't want to make real estate tax payments or homeowners. So,
That's interesting.
so you can do that. The credit, as far as qualifying, the credit and the income qualifications are much easier than a regular mortgage. You basically have to make sure that they have enough money to take care of the taxes and insurance and late fees, along with any debt they might have. And then it's a calculation done for living expenses. So it's not your standard loan. I've had people having income of $1,600 a month in Social Security qualify for purchases and refinances because the numbers just work.
Mhm.
So very easy to do that. Credit scores, we don't look at. Credit, we look at really the past 24-month history, but more importantly, we focus on the taxes and insurance and HOA dues, because those haven't been paid in time. And if they're not, then we do escrow. So if we have somebody mismanaged or they forgot or whatever, then we'll escrow. So we don't want to turn anybody down. So it's very flexible for the income and it's qualifying for credit.
Do you need to cast it back up there?
Oh, you've not seen it?
All right.
How did you do that, Edge?
Edge, and then on top right corner, click the three dots. And then go to more. And cast to device. And then change the source to your whole screen. And then click on team meeting room. Bada bing, bada boom.
You are good.
I've never started yet.
No, it's not.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that is 100% Tracy.
It's funny, I just recently started using Edge more than any of the others.
Good. You got to change what's showing.
All right, and then recap some of what we've already talked about. To keep, some of the other benefits are you do keep the title to the house. The house stays in your name. Bank doesn't want it. It's just a regular mortgage. It's not a regular mortgage, but it's a mortgage.
Right.
That's all it is. It does not require repayment until the last person moves out of home permanently. You never owe more than the house is worth. It's called a non-recourse feature. So if you go to sell the house, the balance is 200,000, the house value is 150, you're upside down at 50. FHA pays for it. The heirs don't pay for it. But one of the benefits of this non-recourse is, I say that is the case where the house is lower in value than the payoff of the loan. The heirs have the opportunity to either refinance the house or sell it, or just give it over. We give it to the realtor to sell. If they decide to buy it, they can buy it at 95% of whatever their appraised value is. So if that appraised value comes at 100,000, they can buy it for 95.
Wow.
And the balance is 50. So it's a huge benefit. The bank doesn't want it. It's just irrelevant. That's why you pay the FHA premiums. There's an upfront FHA mortgage insurance premium and then a regular ongoing 0.5% per year.
We're just looking at quantum reverse right now.
So if you can never owe more than the house is worth, then you would never also put down more than the absolute minimum for the program, correct? If you can never owe more than the house is worth, then you would never, regardless of what your age is, put down more than the absolute minimum in the charts, correct?
But
You would keep the rest of them, okay, so if selling and buying something new. And you sell and you net 400,000, but you only really need to put 300,000 into your new purchase. You'd never put the 400, you
Oh, no,
only
no, no.
put the 300, because then at some point, you're gonna cap out if you can never owe more than the home is worth,
Well, what we're talking about, when you go to sell the home,
right?
okay, and the balance,
Well, if you die, I'm
If you
thinking like you're not selling the home, you're dying in the home.
okay, you're dying in a,
Mhm,
you pass away.
mhm.
All right, so the house then is going to, the heirs are gonna say, we want to buy it, we want to sell it. They want to sell it, they sell it, and then whatever the payoff the balance is of the mortgage, that's what they get as far as, just like a normal loan.
Right, but say
But
they
that-
did this at 62 and they lived in it till they were 90.
Right.
And so they are at that, you're not gonna owe more than the house is worth. But if they were 62 and they put down more than the minimum in the chart,
Oh, okay,
Do you
so
know what I mean?
over, yes, there's.
then they wouldn't be taking full advantage of the program. So most people
Some
likely,
people do that,
okay,
because here's the other thing I haven't touched on, if I can get the screen to go back up, is that when you that's called overfunding the purchase.
uh-huh,
All right, so you go in, you buy a home and you say, okay, I know that the loan amount's gonna be X, I'm gonna owe $300,000 at closing. But I've got more money I'm gonna put down, so I'm gonna put more money down. I don't wanna have a mortgage. A lot of people just use it for a line of credit, so they say, I'm gonna pay everything at closing like I did cash. But then you've got a line of credit sitting there as the purchase. So you've got X number of dollars available as a line of credit you can draw on in the future. That's where you're going with this.
mhm,
So one of the benefits of this program is the line of credit that is unused grows. Right now, it's about 8.25%. So it will grow in value over the years on that unused portion. So if you pay it down, open up that line of credit, that portion is going to grow. So when you go to sell it, it's only going to take, when you go to sell the house, whatever the balance is of that mortgage, $10,000. Then you sell a house and you get the difference. But that line of credit, not answering the question.
no, I think you are. So anything over the minimum goes into a line of credit?
Yes, that line of
Okay.
credit opens up that line of credit
Okay, automatically,
automatically.
okay,
So you say, Jeff, I not only, we need 400,000, whatever that number is. I want to pay more down. I don't want to have. And people do that. They say, I want to use it as a line of credit
mhm,
for the purchase to establish that line of credit to grow, have it there in emergencies. So all I got to do is go online, make a phone call, and request a draw, and then they can have that sent over. It takes 5 to 7 days.
so that line of credit they have is gaining interest unless they draw on it.
It's gaining value, not interest, because this is that.
Okay.
So that line of credit will grow. So at 8.25% right now, calculate out per year. It's going to grow and it's going to fluctuate based on that note rate plus the margin, the index plus the margin, which is plus 0.5%. So right now that's 8.25.
Got it,
So,
okay,
so you're going to have more value, be able to access more money, and at every month, you're going to see that calculation go.
Okay.
This is where we're going to do a webinar, and I'm going to see if we can get that set up so we can do a realtor webinar, really go drill down into the basics, and then show on the screen that will work, how that grows, and we've got great videos as well for the training.
Okay.
All right, what I'm going to do, I'm not sure why this is.
Do you want me to do it?
Yes. I mean, we're almost at the end, so it's.
And then apparently their food was supposed to be here at 12, they'll be here at 12:30, so we've got a couple more minutes, so I think it's
Oh,
So I've got. Again, to recap, the eligible properties, 1 to 4 units, manufactured homes. I've actually done one. It's a double wide up and come. And there's some special things we need to do, like architectural, not architectural, but structural inspection, make sure everything's fine. In this case, the individual's support beams weren't correct, so it was a very minor adjustment, because then making sure everything's fine. So, I mean, that floor, when I installed WLS.
Yeah.
Condos must be FHA approved, with great FHA condo department that works in meeting was approved. HUDs, townhomes, properties held in a living trust. Sales concessions are now allowed 6%, up to 6% of the purchase price. Benefits of buying, you can purchase in the 55 and up community, increase the purchasing power and flexibility, no monthly payments, tax and insurance, maintenance are required, as we, whether you own it, have a loan or not. And it allows you to move closer to the family, get better weather conditions or more appropriate. You've got a lot of seniors that are saying, I can't climb the stairs, or, I'm worried about my spouse, that sort of thing. So they're able to buy into a home that's going to be more appropriate for them. And purchase a home for 45 to 70% down. Again, that goes back to the age, and that's where I just plug in some different factors and kind of quickly email the loan proposal to you.
Is this considered a conventional loan?
Yeah, it's the government.
Right, but in terms of an offer, we have to submit what type of loan it is? What
This will go under FHA.
FHA? Okay.
And I had some contracted downs that if you don't have it, I can share with you.
That would be good.
Yes.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
yeah. I would love to see that.
And then close a little 17 days. I've closed it faster for purchases or refis. But you have to have a borrower that's going to have
Proactive.
the executable ideas in this area. How do you introduce a H for P? Let's talk about the ways you might want to finance your house. Are you familiar with that senior mortgage? So a lot of different ways you can approach a client. So, and you all know your client. And you go out to their home and say, okay, what are your goals? What are you trying to achieve? And if and this is one of the 3 different options they can use. Traditional mortgage, pay cash, or do the home purchase. And this is something I hear all the time. It's, oh no, it's a reverse mortgage. I've heard about that. Well, that's the old reverse mortgage. This goes for, because I wouldn't be doing it, and I'm actually looking to buy a home. So, and believe me, I wouldn't do it if there was anything wrong with this program. The only reason you don't want to use this program, and it's not for everybody, but the only reason you want is if you're only going to live in the house for about 1 to 3 years, because there is a cost involved. It's not a conventional mortgage. You're going to have an upfront FHA premium. You're going to have ongoing mortgage insurance premium, and then some of the fees at closing are going to be up a little bit more. But this is a financial planning tool. It is not a regular mortgage. So there are a lot of benefits and safeguards that you're paying for.
So what do you say when someone says, is that a terrible reverse mortgage? Because I don't know, I've just heard a reverse mortgage is bad, but I don't know what the difference in the old program is versus this new program 6 years ago. Like, what did the other one that was bad have in it that they took out to make this one better?
Okay, the old reverse mortgage, you couldn't buy a home with it. Number 1. Number 2, didn't require any education. So people would go sign up saying, oh, I'm going to have all this money. They pull out all the money, they close on it. Then all of a sudden they say, well, I didn't realize I had to pay my taxes and my homeowner's insurance. I need more money. Well, you don't have any. You can pull everything out. But now there's a safeguard. You can refinance. You can't pull all the money out at once. So you can pull up to a certain portion of the closing, and then you have to wait another 12 months to be able to access the rest of that credit. The other safeguard is when you've got education, you've got the non-borrowing spouse or the spouse that that if something happens, well, now both spouses, any partners or spouses that are on the mortgage or not, or one doesn't have to get a mortgage, they're safeguarded. So before it was like, let's say a husband refinanced the home, wife was there, husband died, she had to refinance the home. She couldn't afford to refinance this, she only has $600, she had to sell it, or it would get foreclosed. Before, but now they're all protected, so that's why we always go off the lower of the two. They don't have to be a borrower on the loan, the other individual, but they are protected and they have to sign paperwork at closing, knowing that they are protected.
Was it always FHA back before?
Yes. And again, we do have non-FHA, but today we're just talking about the FHA. The non-FHA kind of basically follows everything, which is a little bit of differences.
Has it always been where you could never owe more than the house is worth? Has it always been that way, or is that new?
It's always been that way. It's a non-recourse loan.
Okay.
It's always been that way. So, but before also there are more safeguards involved again, where the bank doesn't want to foreclose. If you don't pay your taxes or insurance, we'll put insurance on it. We'll work that out. If you don't pay the taxes, at some point in time, I'm going to say, hey, look, it's been 3 years. You haven't paid Fulton County or Forsyth County. They're going to come take your home. So that's what we avoid. So that's why we put on an escrow account and show the pay for something that shows missing insurance funds. And then the growth factor of the line of credit, that's another safeguard. It's going to grow with the heck and refinance. So say that the value of the home increases a lot, the rates go down. You can do a streamlined refi. Before it was like you got to requalify all over. The qualifying is a lot easier, but there is financial responsibility for education. So that's the big point. It's educating the borrowers. That's my job, is to educate. And then if it fits, great. If not, let's go to plan B. Let's get Lee or somebody else involved in doing a forward on credit. So presenting them with options.
So Northpoint also does lines of credit?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to skip this part. This part is what I handed out today, the realtor cheat sheet. Kind of gives you the basics of what we talked about today. And it also gives you an idea about a range of how much money it's going to take to put down for a down payment. But again, I'm going to give you an email, everybody, an updated version of that. And as well as the ability for, if you have some examples for me to run, I love doing numbers. And so I can say, if you give me a what if, I'll immediately get right back to you and say, this is how it goes. So if you're working with any clients, but your target market's in the age 55 and up, for the FHA program 62. And then I go through your database and try to look and see, who's looking for a home, or if you're struggling because of the price point, how can we make this work? If they're putting money down, then this might be something that would be saying, buy a bigger home.
Especially now, since everybody's sitting on a lot more equity than they've ever sat on before. So,
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to be able to pull out something else. And that's what we do. So we figure out what's the net proceeds. How much do you want to put down towards the purchase of a new home? And how much you want to save. So you don't have to put all of it down. Let's say 50% of it, put it with your financial advisor, and then use the house for the rest of it. So a lot of different creative ways we can do this. Call past clients to get listings and sales. You can call past clients and say, look, we have a new program. So we really what we try to do, and I'm going to skip through all those things. There are a lot of different ways that we try to work with y'all to increase your sales. Our job is to close loans, and if we can help increase your sales, that's what it's all about. Millennials, and that's another thing you want to talk about. If you're talking with some millennials now for purchase of a home, you may want to introduce, if it comes up in conversation about their parents. Well, my parents are struggling and want to move closer to us or whatever. This might be an option for you to be able to pick up another setting. Or to at least have them refinance in a better position to help somebody out. So really the focus is next time anybody comes in, walks, calls you, whatever, 860 and over, let them know. We're here to help. So that kind of basically goes over the program, what we're trying to cover today. So do you have any questions?
I think it's just getting into those webinars and
Yeah.
start digging a little deeper in
I'd
here.
love to see like an actual
Yeah,
example of, the whole process and, the graphs that would be given of,
right. This is what the appreciation is
right,
versus
this
this is what
is
the,
your home equity line and this
Yeah.
is how it appreciates and your home's gonna appreciate 4% and it looks like this. And at this year, if you don't make any payments, you're here and your home price is here, all the,
to me, it's interesting that you can never own more than the house is worth. So it's like at some point, at a certain point,
right. If you started at 62 and you live to your 90s,
Yeah.
at some point, you're maxing that program out.
and it's awesome because you're not adding more expense at the end of the loan
Right,
anymore.
so that's-
You're just
That's
not
where I
paying-
think I
You
would
know what I
really
mean?
want to see the graph.
Yeah. Which is very interesting.
Next show to you right now.
Because I think that's what I always thought with reverse mortgages was I was like, you're tacking all this huge balloon payment at the end that you're going to leave with your kids or whatever. And it's going to suck.
All right.
Right, for them.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to do
Let's
that.
do that.
All right, well, can you give me an idea of, I've got a Tesla up here right now, so.
So I got, Hank Porter is, let's just say 82 years old. He's somewhere in his low 80s. I don't know. Do you want his address, the address for the house? I don't know if it pulls up any info on that.
Okay, so I'm gonna say his birthday is 42.
Perfect.
All right, the property, we're gonna treat this as a purchase, right?
Listing, he's got to sell it. His kids are moving him close to him.
Okay, so he's gonna sell.
He needs to sell it, yeah, but he needs to put money into it to fix it up before he sells it.
Okay,
Yeah,
how long is it before he sells?
as long as it takes to fix it.
All right, we really don't want to use this later.
Well, he's already in it. He's already in it. Has
Okay,
it.
well, okay, so I'm gonna treat it as a refund.
Okay, perfect.
All right, I'm just gonna show you how it works. So this will be a traditional, the value of the property is how much?
After renovation value?
No, before, like if I'm gonna run an appraisal right now.
Oh, if you're in it right now, it'd probably come back at maybe 500,000.
And how much would the pay off the existing unit?
491.
All right, it's not big.
But after renovation, it's 750.
Yeah, so run it on 750.
So let's run it at 750.
Pretend he's done all the renovation.
Yeah, let's pretend it's ready to go. So 750. Good call. I'm making it more difficult than that.
But it's still, it's not gonna work.
No,
Because he's young.
he's young. He's 82 years
Well,
old.
he's not young. So, it's not gonna work. See, this is where, it gets a little, where we've got to
Let them know.
work the numbers out. Here's. And it's not gonna work for everybody.
Right,
So,
right. I guess with this one, my question is, can he pull against his refi, like with the equity line of credit? Can he pull 100,000?
Yeah, he's not gonna be able to.
He won't be able to.
No, so in this case, you can see the estimated property value is 750, payoff is at 372. The mortgage insurance premium is 2% of the appraised value. So that's what I'm saying, there's some expense factor.
Right,
Then the closing fees, 92, these are just basic,
sure.
do a job. 9260, lien payoff of 491, meaning he'll bring to closing 143,000 close. So it's short.
Wow. Okay,
Now, if you were going to sell a property, that's why you don't want to use this for that. let's say he's gonna buy a property after he sells it.
Yeah,
And I give you my mom,
Yes,
so she would sell her house for about $350,000.
was she gonna buy? No, she's gonna buy it. Right?
She would want to buy one, like you're saying though, that we could take, first $350,000, she wanted to buy 500, couldn't she do that? If that
Yeah,
would
so
be,
I'm gonna use this as a purchase.
okay.
So she's gonna buy a home.
Okay.
At 500, right? In her date of birth. Or how old is she?
Or 75.
Sorry to interrupt you, get one drop in lunch, there's three.
cool.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So in this case, she's gonna buy the home. And it will be. Purchase price of 500. Her loan amount is 213. So she will bring the closing 306,000. So after she brings that money to closing, she will never make a mortgage payment loan, just be responsible for taxes and insurance.
So if she has 350, it's 350 minus that 306, which would go into her HELOC. Yes, so.
Well, no, she's gonna sell it currently.
Yeah, but if she sells it for 350, so she has 350.
She owns it free and clear. Okay, so she's gonna sell for 350 minus closing costs, let's just say 350. So she's got 350,000 to spend, right?
Mhm.
Well, she only needs 306, so she's saving $42,000. She's gonna put that 42. So she, after she closes on her current home, she has 350 in a savings account. She'll go to closing on 306,000. So she's not gonna spend all that money.
Right, so that's what I was saying before she puts the minimum down, and you said then that would go in the HELOC.
Okay,
So
so
does
she
she
wants
put
to
the
put
350 in, or does she put the minimum at 306?
no, she can put more down. She can put 350 down, and that's gonna increase it's gonna decrease the loan amount by that amount. So no, the answer to that is yes, I see it. So in this example, it's another calculation to do, but basically it's saying, okay, you go to 306 at closing. What we're gonna do is you're gonna come to closing with 350. So I've got $42,000 more. That will lower that loan amount. I mean, that will increase that will establish that line of credit for 42,000 available right away. So she'll have right at closing $42,000 on that line of credit available for her. So if she wants to pull out 42,000 in 2 months from that, after closing, she can do that. It's like a line of credit for 2 years.
Or she could keep it as cash in her savings account.
Or like she can invest in a different way, right?
Yeah. So what a lot of people will do is, well, it's kind of 50-50. It depends on what they want to do. They got a financial budget, you know, I want 42, let me invest it, I need to get better. Like here, it's like you're gonna grow the day before it. Whereas before, years ago, you didn't have that kind of growth. But if your financial advisor says, no, let me use that, money, then she'll just give it to 390,000 down and say, you either get a financial advisor, then 42,000,
Right.
you overfund the loan. Yes. 42 or could be 7.
Yeah.
Now, you said, well, how does it look as far as from the years ahead?
In fairness to me, it was rattling before I see
This is where you can see how this loan's gonna look. So if you buy a home for 500,000. Your loan amounts at 230, so it starts out at 213 in year one. The first year, at the end of the first year, the interest charge is $14,015. And the mortgage insurance premium $1,099. So your total loan balance went from 213 to 2.114. This is my favorite page. So when you say, okay, so I've got a 228, 114 balance. The value of the property went up by 4%, so it's now 520. So my equity position, if I sell a year, is 291,000 versus the year before 287. So then people say, okay, well, 10 years from now, I'm gonna be 85 years old. What's the balance of the loan? Estimated at 422, 771. And then you scroll over, the value of the property is 740, 122. So your equity is 317, 351. So when you go to sell the house at that point in time, that's what you're gonna net for your heirs.
As long as the 4%.
Yeah, I can check that. Whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
So what year does it flip where you have more equity than principal? Where it flips to more principal owed than equity? What
Well,
year?
in this example, it doesn't, because at age 100, you've never made a mortgage payment. The balance is 192. Let's.
Oh, I see.
The value is 1.3, so your equity position is 150. But let's say that the value of the property appreciation is 0 over that time period. So it's at 287, well, then you just take 287 on value. You're upside down by 800.
Only 100,000.
So that's where FHA comes in and makes that payment.
Can you say that last part again?
Yeah.
All right, with the appreciation factor at 4%,
Yeah.
at 8,100, 25 years from now, the value of the property is 1.3.
Okay.
The balance of the loan, if you never made a payment, is 1.1.
Mhm.
So your equity is 150,000.
Oh, sure.
That's based on 4% appreciation factor. If you don't have any appreciation, let's say it's 0 factor,
Yeah.
your property value is 500.
Mhm.
So you just say, okay, 1.1 minus 500 equals X number of dollars, and that's what you're upside down.
So that's your negative.
That's your negative.
And
But then you're not actually upside down.
no,
Oh,
because
yeah.
FHA picks that up.
Yeah, you just, a lot of people say, I don't
So
want.
you just net zero out of it and
Yeah, the heirs say, I don't want the house.
you live 25 years with no mortgage payment
And you go.
and you just walk away.
So if you use a super conservative appreciation of 2%, then you would probably see that net somewhere in before you're 100.
Yes.
Okay.
So for that difference, if there is one, does FHA just step in and cover the difference, or do they take? Does it become like is the property just sold on the market, or does
Well,
it
you
become
get three
a
options.
foreclosure, or?
Well, no, what happens is when the last person gets on, let's say both people or the last person leaves the house, then the heirs get the house. And they say, okay, I don't want the house. Let's sell it. So then they call you on and say, we need to sell the house. Mom, dad passed away. And then you all sell the house, and then whatever net proceeds are, will go to the heirs. But if it's upside down, you can say, well, it's upside down. FHA is taking care of the house with that shortfall. So I'm not getting the heirs aren't going to do anything. There's no equity there to give. So that's when they say, okay, let's have the builder sell it. But I don't care about it. I'm just going to sign it. I don't want the hassle of the sale. So they sign a deed in lieu of foreclosure. And then we just coordinate and work with the realtor to sell the house.
Interesting.
And then take care, and then FHA covers that shortfall. So nobody's ever on the hook. That's not.
So at that point, it's basically an REO property.
Yeah. Well,
If it's upside down.
if it's upside down, I would say it's not real estate owned because, I mean, it's gonna be sold. So that FHA is gonna come to the closing when somebody buys the house and they're gonna fund that shortfall.
That's cool.
But who's on the deed at the time of sale?
So, I mean, the owner of the property is always on the deed. So if they both pass away, then it goes to the heirs. Then the heirs say, okay, A, I want to refinance and buy it. Or B, I want to sell it. Or C, I'm just going to sign a deed of foreclosure. Let's get rid of it. I don't want to have someone selling it. There's no equity.
But is that affecting public record wise?
Well, it's not the heirs.
Okay, that's what I'm at.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's what I'm curious about. Yeah.
yeah, no.
And who determines is the price of the home would have to be sold at the appraised price, or like who
That's where
determines
they
that?
sell.
Yeah.
That's where they come it on, and we say, hey, look, I need to sell property, that's where you guys come to play and sell.
And see what what the principal is versus what our comps run and say, is it viable?
Yeah. Yeah, the bottom line is the bank wants to sell it. FHA wants to sell it, it needs to sell. And if they gotta sell it, just get rid of it quickly, I mean, that's what happened.
Of course you show up.
I was asked.
Yeah,
I could also stop.
that's what it was.
Take their names and make sure they sign up for the webinar.
Yeah, so I'd love to get a list of names.
Yeah.
Because the webinar is really, it's gonna drill down exactly how it works, the pie graphs, charts and so forth. I don't get it, it's given by our director of reverse mortgage. And it's done on a monthly basis. So you just sign up, it's recorded to go, to go back to.
Awesome.
No,
Got a ton of people. Oh my goodness.
yeah,
Oh, what?
it's very interesting. Very, very interesting.
Do you have any other examples you want
I do. So I have someone who's,
What,
say 70.
Eric?
She would like to sell her home. Her home's worth about 610. She owes 230 on it. And then she wants to buy a home. And she was thinking she only wants to buy a home that's 400 because she would use the equity. And she has other funds, but she doesn't want to, So she was looking at purchase price of 400, putting 25% down. But in a program like this, it would give her more flexibility because she's afraid, she's gonna live longer than her money does.
Yes, that's why people do.
Right, and I mean, this is exactly her, and so she won't sell this giant house that she wants to sell because she's scared of what to do. And so this is, something like this would be perfect for her.
It really would, and she's 70.
Yeah. And I know someone who wants to buy her house, so I can look at.
Win-win.
If the plan is still alive.
All right, so she buys it, she wants to buy a home for 400.
Yes,
All right, so she is going to have a loan amount, principal limit of 159.6. Then after all the closing costs and so forth, she'll need 257 to close.
okay, but she would have that because her home, based on what her home is worth, she'd have a bunch over that, because based on what her home is worth and what she currently owes, she would net almost, like 380. So
Yeah.
she would have
So she has
Do that plan.
100 and some thousand, plenty
additional.
additional to give to a financial advisor, put savings,
Mhm.
or overfund the loan and purchase.
Here's a pre-2008 question. Can they get a second
No,
to cover the down payment?
yeah, no, that's been my struggle. Because you can't borrow money for the down payment. Even if you put a line of credit second on the home. Oh, well, it's like a bridge loan. And I've been struggling with this because they say, okay, we've got this borrower ready to sell. They want to go ahead and buy.
Mhm.
Now, I've done it where they borrow the money from the 401k or the
Mhm.
investment account. So they go ahead and buy the new one, so they don't lose it, close on it. And then they fix up the old home and sell it and then reimburse the 401k.
Right.
That's fine, for the investment. But you can't put like, well, let me do a bridge loan and pull money off the existing property, because that's considered borrowed funds.
Gotcha.
But they don't, if it's an asset already, yes, and we do that a lot. Because a lot of people, they find something and want to close right away. And if they've got access to that money, or they can get a gift from, a family member or somebody, can't be interested third time.
Right.
It's got to get some. So gift letters, gift funds are fine as well.
Very cool.
So then do you work with somebody's financial planner as well?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
So, work with the financial planners, work with the family members,
Mhm.
Zoom calls, go out to the people's homes if needed, or come to the realtor's office, refer. So we all sit together, so the realtor knows what's going on. The book, family members too, it's very critical that family members involved. So I'm constantly on the phone talking to everybody, because everybody needs to know, everybody has to be in sync, this is what mom and dad are doing, this is what we're gonna do. Great.
Yeah, because like I think this woman works very closely with her financial planner and like takes his word for everything. So
Yes.
like I think she would need you to talk to him to.
Absolutely, he needs to be educated, 'cause a lot of financial advisors don't understand.
Right.
In the past, they were told, don't ever talk about reverse mortgage.
Right.
Mhm.
When I first started doing it, I emailed some information to a financial advisor and said, hey, my compliance firm said, you put reverse mortgage in the subject line. No, can do. And I said, what are you talking about? He goes, no, but now they changed their mind. Now they're saying it's negligent on their part if they don't make this an opportunity for them to look at. Not that they want to do it, but it's, because it is an asset to use that equity in their home to leverage themselves.
Well, I think the thing is it's only recently that I think people are learning that equity in your property should be used now and it's like used. Paying off the home was previously, the concept was, I want to pay it off. I need to pay off the home. Well, you're sitting on a savings account of hundreds of thousands of dollars doing nothing for you. Why would you do that? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so now with the reverse mortgage, it makes sense.
Yes, well, the kids want to know that.
No,
They don't at all. And that was the old mentality.
They want the house.
No, the kids want you happy. The
right.
kids want you to take care of them. And if you want to be able, and then that's the other thing I said earlier, giving them one hand. Let me go ahead and give my granddaughter, grandson, something, buy them a home, down payment, give them money for the side of the other, their education.
And that's,
So,
I mean, that's the other, I'm sorry to control, just, but, if they're leaving their estates to their children, their liquid assets or their investment assets have been less depleted if this was used on the equity here. So it's again, there's more to leave over on this side. Cause I used to think of it just as, oh, well, now you're not leaving your kids any equity
Right.
in this house.
You broke it all off.
Here, but you're leaving it over here because you didn't have to use it over here.
Yeah, exactly. I had one person that did refinancing saying, you know what? I want to leave more for my kids. I'm going to buy a life insurance policy. I'm going to buy an annuity and this. So they were able to pull money out and so it increased, they only had a little bit out of the house, but they had a lot by using that money because they got out of the house. So it was and then once the kids understand that, I've only had one child that gave her mother a hard time. I never forget this. So, and then finally just said, okay, well, she doesn't do this. She's not doing it.
They're like, no, do it. Yeah.
She immediately said, well, let's take
Let's take another look at it.
These numbers make it.
I love you, Mom, but I love you over there.
And the mother, but she goes, Jeff, I gotta tell you, before we talk with my daughter, this is where her head's at. So she probably.
Nice.
That's all. So, yeah, it's a dramatic improvement. And I guess the number one takeaway I get after closing, or several years afterwards is, Jeff, you don't realize how much stress has been relieved that I'm not under.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You don't have to worry about, do they have enough money to do this, that, or the other?
Right.
They don't have to worry about the house being taken. Yeah, it's there. So
That's a
living
real-
stress, and then they'll live on. The whole program is designed to live and stay in the home for the longest possible.
Very cool.
The one time, I'll tell this real quick story. I went out to the Dover and Woodstock area. Husband, wife, daughter contacted me and said, look, we've run out of money taking care of mom and dad because of their health problems. They have a home and we're free and clear. We're thinking about a reverse mortgage. Our financial advisor saying, call, check it out. So we ran different examples. Then I went out there and presented to them. The husband was 91 years old in a hospital bed in the living room. He had the whole family together. I'm like, probably 7 or 8 people, you know, children, and which house and wives. And then the mother. And so we went through the whole program. They said, yes, you know, definitely let's do it. We had to get a power of attorney for the father son because he couldn't, we started to have him, and he couldn't hold the power.
Yeah.
So, you know, we medically would do a power of attorney, and so to make it easy for them. So they closed on the loan probably about 4 weeks later. We were able to give them the funds needed to take care of their parents. And unfortunately, the father passed away about 9 months later, but the mother was still able to stay in the home and live there. She's still there, so it really does help out. And of course, the daughter was just ecstatic because they didn't know what to do. They couldn't afford they could put mom and dad in a nursing home. I mean, that's
Oh, it's-
outrageous.
Crazy expensive. Cool. Thank you very much.
You are welcome.
That's great.
This is a great question. Somebody.
I'm looking forward to the webinar.
Yeah.